All right. Welcome back. Let's start this one. The finder says, don't cap interest rates. It will be counterproductive. Premium Bank MD declares. Nanado must ride labor issue. That's what the BNFT is reporting this morning. The Daily Graphic says, you have nothing to fear. Akufo-Addo assures political opponents. Also on the front page of the Daily Graphic, service chiefs, including the IGP, calls on Akufo-Addo. You can see the photograph here. And Office of Special Prosecutor in the offing. Those are stories Daily Graphic is talking about. The visible forces take over toll booth. Daily Guide says Nana beats Mahama with 1 million votes. NPP goes to court over 5 seats. And the Ghanaian Times says hooligans causing violence across the country. We'll take a look at all these stories very soon. Let me tell you who my guests are this morning. To my extreme left is Member of Parliament for the Menchia South constituency, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh. Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
You retain your seat. Thanks so much for joining us. And then to my left is a senior lecturer at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana, Lagos, Dr. Isaac Owusu-Mensah. Good morning too.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing great.
By His grace and mercies.
Thanks for much for joining us. And then to my right is Member of Parliament for the Ablekuma Central constituency, outgoing Member of Parliament for the constituency, Theophilus Tetechai. Good morning too. Hope you're doing good. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, let's start with this story on the Daily Guide, a quick one here. It talks about NPP going to court over 5 seats in the Western region. Daily Guide is reporting that story. Matthew Poku Prempeh says so he'll tell us exactly what the story. But we're told that the NPP is heading to court because of 5 seats. We're told that the party is alleging that some irregularities occurred in the counting and collation of results in the Lembele, Awin, Swamang, Amenfi Central, and Dwabose constituencies. Now, these constituencies are NDC strongholds. That's what the paper is reporting. The NPP won 8 seats, 8 more seats in the Western region in the just ended elections. Dr. Poku Prempeh, so the court issue is to seek to do what?
It's basically good morning to your listeners. The court issue basically is to unravel the mysterious circumstances in which some district electoral officers probably connived with returning officers and some election officers to be able to use pink sheets that were not supposed to be used for this election. And like I said, I have made preliminary reports into the EC that if we get those pink sheets and they are true as the candidates are alleging, we should make sure that those district electoral officers and returning officers are prosecuted. I am not interested, basically, a priori saying that the results should be overturned. We should investigate, and if there are any alleged breaches of the electoral law, at least for once, we must use certain people as an example. I don't want, whether I'm in opposition or I'm in government, I don't want my results to be determined by electoral officials. I don't want that. I don't even want that for my enemy. I want results to be a fair reflection of what the people want. And I think that is a very, very serious matter. And what makes it even more serious was that the Electoral Commission itself, in the middle of the declaration of the presidential results, came out that they have got reports of overvotes, and it is incumbent upon them to make sure that it is right. And I supported them in that matter. If there's an overvote, we must investigate. If these things that are being alleged are true, then we must find the person who substituted a printed statement of poll with a disused statement of poll, and that person must be prosecuted as an example. The trial must be moved to Accra, it must be televised nationally, and these people punished. Because Ghana cannot waste billions of cedis in conducting an election that should reflect the will of the people for 1 or 2 people to be behaving and tarnishing the whole image and the electoral process in the country.
The story is suggesting that the NPP is going to ask the court to open the ballot boxes and go for manual count. But you said the party isn't asking for that the results should be overturned.
I'm saying if that is a consequence, so be it. But that, to me, that is not my priority.
Okay.
My priority is that how come pink sheets that were not supposed to be used were used?
Okay. So the NDC Western Region says that all these allegations, per the story, are not true, and that the pink sheets used were not 2012 pink sheets.
My brother, I'm not here talking about NDC NPP.
Right.
Take it. Let's put it on the thing. I'm saying, that's why I said, I started by saying that the results of an election should reflect what the people voted for. That is all. If there is an incident that makes a candidate protest that this is not a true reflection, then there must be an intervention and the right things done. I can put it on record that recounting, this will not the first instance of recounting. And it doesn't necessarily mean that any error has occurred.
Okay.
If they recount, and truly what is in the ballot box is not a reflection of what is on the
pink sheet.
So somebody must be brought to book. There is no candidate that declares himself winner or loser in any election in this country, as far as I'm concerned. They are supposed to be neutral EC officers who do the counting, who do the certification. And if a candidate is able to go to court, it might be wrong. The candidate might be wrong. But if it is found that some shenanigans have occurred, then I think that we must make an example. For far too long, we in this country always hear the story that our votes don't matter. Okay.
All right, I'm grateful. Dr. Usumesa, so the NPP there alleges some wrongdoing, and then the NDC regional secretary says, well, it is not true. So I guess the only place to deal with this is the court.
Exactly. And I also believe that as people of this country, we respect the will of every person. In as much as His Excellency the President has one vote, the quality of his vote is the same as the quality of the kaya or the one selling by the roadside. So every vote matters in this country. Secondly, public officers, we are working with the rules and regulations. If the rules say you should use 2012 statement of pool, you use it. Now we are in 2016. The 2016 rules and regulations must apply. You cannot, as individual, decide that this is where you want to go, this is where you want to go. My wish is that the will of the people matter in this case, and the court is the only place that we have. And I think that we should continue to exercise and also continue to push forward that all issues about the elections must resolve by court. Because if we are not able to have that and have enough trust in the court, at the end of the day, people will try to take the laws into their own hand. That can be dangerous for our democracy. For democracy thrives when institutions are working efficiently. And one of the best institutions we have is the court that all of us hold in high esteem. So we must just go to court and resolve the issue. It's not about, and I want to also emphasize that it shouldn't be NPP or NDC. The issues are the following has been raised. Let it go to court and let it be resolved.
Well, it's the NPP that is raising the allegations, and the NDC, okay, the candidate of the NPP raising the allegations, and the General Secretary, the Western Regional Secretary of the NDC, reacting that the allegations are untrue. That's
the court should determine at the end of the day. But I wish that at the end of the day, the NDC should still have those seats, because I don't want NPP to have to test in the house. I don't want that. The numbers they have is enough for the development of this country.
Okay, all right.
The numbers you have is
we can't talk about that later.
No, the numbers in the NPP you have is enough for the legislature. 170
is it true?
Is enough.
I don't believe that.
Doc, do you want more seats?
I want a true reflection of the will of the people.
No, so you don't want more seats.
Okay. Doc, are you saying that, I hope it doesn't, but are you saying that if the faults there are so grievous that it should be overturned, they must not be overturned?
No, the numbers is overturned.
So those two issues are different.
Different. Okay. I want the will of the people to prevail at the end of the day.
Like I do.
Yeah, like you do, but not for to test Parliament.
I'm grateful. Honorable, let me cut you. I want you for today. So, your party's rep in the region, the secretary, is denying this. Has this issue come to Accra? And how much do you know about this?
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to your cherished viewers. And to thank you also for the good coverage of the elections. Yeah, you did very well.
Thanks.
And we are so grateful. You've all contributed to the development of our democracy in the country. And we need to pat you in the back. Yeah. It is very true that when it comes to elections, there are so many issues that comes with it, especially when people lose elections. Sometimes it's very difficult to accept election results. Me per se, I've also had that challenge in my previous elections where after the declaration, my opponent started crying foul. Meanwhile, there was nothing at stake. But it is part of the election strategy. Sometimes to win public sympathy for your inability to win. So there are so many factors. But whatever issue that comes up needs some form of investigation. That is why with the electoral laws that we have, when you feel that you've not been treated very well, you don't have to take the law into your own hands. All what you need to do is to go to the court to fight the issue. So once they have decided that they have issues that they think needs to be resolved, the best place for them to go is the court. And for me, by choosing that method, we need to pat them in the back. We've had certain constituencies where people have taken the laws into their own hands, which has resulted in damage of public property and so on and so forth. A constituency in question is a Kumfi. And I believe that that is not the way forward. We have rules and regulations governing our elections. And once, as a candidate, you feel cheated, you apply the rules and regulations. When you go to court, the court will determine whether there should be a recount. It is not up to you, the candidate, to go and then pick boxes and say there should be a recount. What people don't know is that when it comes to recounts, it is not in the power of the electoral officer. That right is reserved to the courts. They have the right to do recounts. You can do recounts at the polling station. But as soon as it comes to the collation center, that right is no more. And I don't know why some candidates went to the extent of even going for ballot boxes to insist that there should be a recount. It is strictly against the laws. So they have taken the right step. They should go to the court and then present their case before the judges, and then at the end of the day, they will sit and determine whether they really have a case or not.
You know, it's one of the cases that the Chief Justice set up courts, special courts to deal with. So
electoral cases.
And I think that this issue should not spend even a week in court.
Okay. And also, I was just saying that sometimes people also confuse recollation and recounting. Sometimes they just want recollation of the figures, but they go and talk about recounting
the ballots.
Exactly, physically counting the ballots is the recount, and recollation just let's look at the figures. Retallying the others. So I think that
the only time a recount can be done at a collation center is when, what my brother said, if the recount is done at the polling station and there's still no satisfaction.
Right.
That is one. And the second thing, that if there's a rejected ballot or rejected ballots that are dealt with at the polling station, and there's an objection by a candidate to how that ballot has been rejected, then when you get to the collation center, it will be looked at and the decision is made, and that time it will be counted as part of what. Those are the only two. But it's the court issue.
All right. Let's move on. Ghanaian Times is reporting that hooligans causing violence across the country. Also on the Daily Graphic, IGP calls on the Kufuor, and the Finder says that calm down NPP supporters, Chief Imam to President-elect Nana Kufuor. Let's tie in these three stories. Now, this story from Ekumfi says a pickup belonging to the NDC candidate in the constituency in the just ended election has been destroyed. There were clashes between supporters of the two parties, we were told. Now, we're told that the glass windows of the residence of the defeated incumbent MP Abeku Krentel of the NDC have been destroyed, and the vehicle belonging to the NDC being burned. The series of clashes started after the declaration of the MP-elect as the winner of Wednesday's election. we're told the incumbent called for a recount. Now, yesterday again, some supporters took over the toll booth. And then the chief imam visited Nana Addo and said that, calm down, NPP supporters. That's from the finder. Dr. Usman, let me start with you. Now, I am unsure if we can ever get rid of this, because in 2000 it happened, in 2008 it happened. Anytime there's a change of government, it happens. How do we cure this problem? Is it curable?
Yes, it can be cured. I think that to start with, all the issues about election, peaceful elections, a lot of concentration was not done about post-electoral violence. We must admit as a people, we all, whilst you are campaigning, make sure your campaign is decent, don't insult your brothers and all that. When we are on the elections day, also ensure that you do the right thing. But post-electoral violence, but we not place so much emphasis on. I think going forward, when we are going to have an election, set efforts we put there. Number two, I will still encourage all Ghanaians that we have all been successful in running an election. The issue about this person has lost, this person has won, I think we have moved on from there. And also, some people, I want to put on record, some people already have problems with others, and so as soon as the elections is over and one candidate is declared a winner, then they take advantage. Let me give an example. In the northern region, when the Abudu and then issue came out, there were some people who were accounts, who didn't belong to any of these families, but they suffered so much because people who want to use that to settle their personal scores. And I think it's important that the security services will be up and doing and deal with those people as criminal issues. They are not about partisan issues. I don't think that any NPP chairman will tell you go and do this, or NPP MP or a candidate will tell you go and do this. I think these are individuals who want to settle their personal scores. Look at an incident we're going to take over
the toll booth.
Which chairman will tell you that, or which hierarchy of the party will tell you that? And I think as part of our democratization process, it's important that people are told to do the right thing at the right time. And we should not forget, the security services should not be issuing statements here and there. They should deal with the people as it is. Because you are in charge. You are in charge. And His Excellency the President is still the President of the Republic of Ghana. And this is still the ruling government as we speak now. So they should not countenance or people using these electoral issues to settle their personal scores.
In the midst of celebration, someone is pulling down a toll booth and the police goes in to effect arrest. You see that possible?
You see, in the midst of celebration, celebration must be done in modesty. But the point is that pulling down a toll booth is not allowed. The toll booth is a public property.
Can it be celebration?
It can be celebration. I don't know.
Okay, so the key thing the police keep saying is that, look, in the midst of this excitement, a billboard is being pulled down of your opponent, and you go in to arrest the person, and it says, well, is it because you're against our government winning? And so the police say they also have a difficulty dealing with some of these things.
I don't think that you should have a difficulty dealing with this thing. And I said, and I will confess that I think all of us were taken or were overwhelmed about not just the result, but also the way people came out to celebrate and all that. But I think beyond that, the police must prepare moving forward. As I said, post-electoral violence, moving forward, the police must much more be prepared, because I think the police, at the end of the day, elections, prepared before the election, after the election, everything has been done. So everybody went to sleep at the end of the day. One or two people were walking around it. But the point is that we didn't prepare that if we are going to celebrate, people can move in to do all this thing. And if we don't keep it, I'm very sure that in subsequent elections, it will get out of hand.
It has always happened after every change. I mean, since '92.
In 2000, I don't remember anything. 2000, yes,
it never happened.
And even
billboards being destroyed. Well, I saw it when Mr. Rollins was. I saw billboards. Posters being torn. Rollins.
Posters have no relevance anymore after the elections.
Exactly, but the point is that it sends the signal of a kind of animosity between the two people. It is not just the poster being pulled down or torn. But if you find one party supporters destroying another party's paraphernalia, it sends a signal.
Exactly.
And that is exactly why the parties themselves, both the NDC and the NPP, at each other. The NPP asking their supporters to stop, and the NDC asking the NPP to ask their supporters to stop. The chief imam is asking Nana Addo to call NPP supporters to order. Civil society is doing the same. So it tells you that there is a problem. And what role can the parties play? Because all they can do is to ask their supporters to stop, and yet it goes on.
I think what the parties can do is to tell their supporters, as you rightly said, to stop what they are doing. They should celebrate in modesty. As for celebration, the parties can't stop their members from celebrating. And I know an area, NPP and NDC team up, and they're all celebrating and enjoying. At the end of the day, all of us are Ghanaians. Today is your turn, tomorrow it will be our turn. And they were celebrating, and I was so happy to see them, all of them celebrating. But going to spoil somebody's party paraphernalia is very bad, and we should stop it.
And we have deaths. You know the Dunkwa story. There's also a story here from Sifiru also where an NPP person has killed an NDC person.
Which is very bad, and it should be treated with the necessary laws. It should be treated with necessary laws.
I'm grateful. Dr. Poku Prempe, what role can the parties, the winning party, play in this whole thing, or perhaps the police service in dealing with it?
You don't expect to have ducklings out of chicken eggs.
How?
How? You see, in this country, we are taking hypocrisy and sycophancy to a level that is shocking, and we don't know that we're going to reap it. If this election we have escaped violence, we shouldn't think it's because we did anything. It's because probably God intervened. Look, I can show you security reports of people arming from the northern regions of Ghana to the southern coastal belts in Ghana, distributing shotguns, displaying some armaments that even the military don't have. And we keep silent. All of a sudden, we are silent about all these things that happened pre-election. And where has all these arms and things gone? Right? We have created an industry. I bet I don't see the relevance of peace in this country without justice. We are all in this country where for weeks and months we heard about maiming people, killing people in parts of Ghana because of elections. Go to Asutaflo Asutifi. People's hands were being cut. Where were the police? Let me finish. Don't just gloss over it. Don't just.
What is the point?
I'm telling you.
What is the
those
point?
who suffered.
You are justifying the killing of the two supporters at Dunkornofin.
I'm not talking about Dunkornofin. I'm telling you.
All right.
When my presidential candidate had to come out and go on that, if the Ghana police doesn't live up to the responsibility in Kukyum and Mehame and those areas, maybe it will lead to the anarchy. Just imagine somebody in those constituencies whose brother's hand has been cut just because he was MPP. The tendency for that person, if things change, to take the law into his own hand, it is never orchestrated by MPP or NDC.
So are you justifying what is happening?
I'm not justifying. That is why I understand English. Listen.
Because
we are all human beings. We are all human beings.
Okay.
You are all human beings. If you don't deal with a subject and go to the depth of the subject to deal with it, it will always recur. I'm saying that pre-election.
So it is recurring because you are suggesting that the NDC did.
Because the Ghana Police Service has been seriously negligent in some of these things.
So it's institutional failure.
It's institutional failure. Look, let me say. Look at what happened in Nanado's house. That even the American and British High Commission had to react. And look at what the police people, the elders of the police, went on air to say.
If a gun is pointed at the police commander and he doesn't act...
Go and look at the report. A gun. Where was the gun from?
We all saw the picture.
You also... Where was
the picture of the gun pointed?
Where was that gun from?
Well, no one knows, but we saw a gun being pointed at the police commander.
So I'm saying...
And so the commander says to ensure peace, don't act.
I'm just telling you, that is the sycophancy and the hypocrisy. Because even in war-torn places, even in Aleppo, there are peacekeepers and peace enforcers there. Even in Aleppo, where airplanes are dropping bombs. So what is Ghana police saying? If somebody, aren't the same police who license guns? So if you come to my house and I have a licensed gun, and for a matter I don't understand, I point it to the police, will they go and sleep? My brother,
I see. So the police would have arrested the person.
Yeah, that's what I'm pointing. Don't trivialize mediocrity.
Okay, so the police should have, and the politician will allow the police to do their work.
I'm just saying, irrespective of political party, the police should do their work.
Great.
How come is the president who is going and saying the police should go and arrest? What does he tell you? If it takes the president to come out to say, arrest people. I don't care when they started. But if you don't deal with issues rightly, it will keep recurring. If you have a cancer and you treat it and you don't deal with it, it will okay.
Okay,
so if it started in 2000 and there was a police service that didn't deal with it, in 2008 it escalated. The police didn't deal with it. In 2016 it will get worse. I was coming with my brother. These people who were going at Dublin Bridge, who were going toilets, who were going, the NDC as a party was against it. Right? You expect the Ghana Police Service, if it's doing its work well, to deal with these things. I was in Kumasi and I know what happened. Yeah. That's why I'm saying that people came to snatch ballot boxes. People we said were falsely or rightly had fake ballot papers stamp printed. You don't hear how the system deals with these issues. So when it gets to election time, it becomes like if you are not able to deal with it, then you lose. You have lost. That is why when we started this thing, I said if we find out that a district electoral officer or a returning officer has misbehaved, he should be punished, and the whole Ghanaian public must know that you, an electoral officer, you are supposed to be neutral. If you have connived, you have been put in jail for 2 years. Next time, nobody will go and do that. But if after the election, because a party has won 170 or so seats, nothing happens to those 1 or 2 who have caused infractions, they are emboldened to teach other electoral officers how to do more. And it gradually gets out of hand. That's why I'm saying that my party has issued a statement. The president has issued a statement. It tells you only one thing. There's an institution that is failing us.
It is an institution. Is policing not a shared responsibility? Now, don't you think political party
at the end of the month, I don't go to the police service to go and collect my salary?
Yes, but you think political parties have no responsibility in that direction?
If you allow me, the second point is that there's not enough civic education in this country. You see, I don't think there is ever going to happen that my brother sitting here will have a quarrel and I'll go and hit him or he'll hit me. It's never going to happen.
So but why are your supporters doing it? Why are your supporters doing it? If you at the top are not doing it and your supporters are doing it, then we can point the fingers at you.
Okay, there are other people who don't think like me and how we think, who don't act like me and how we think. So that's why we have a whole national institution called civic education that is supposed to inculcate civil ethos into the behavior to the politics. Why? Why didn't they say the leaders of the political parties that to do civic education? Because you would go and entrench. He is going campaigning for his party. I'm going. We are both in Ablikon. We are campaigning for my party. How can we educate people? You need a neutral arbiter.
Dr. Bokrempe, you and Honorable Theodore won't fight, but your utterances can incite your supporters.
But also depend on the level of the civic culture of the people. Because if the civic culture of the people is ingrained and well developed, their utterances will not be enough.
In 1979,
but at this point,
there was an election in this country.
Dr. Osumensa, at this point, what you're talking about, we cannot talk about what you're saying now. At this point, we need these our leaders to bring their supporters to order.
Certainly, we need to bring them to order, but
because the utterances is what is causing this thing to happen every time we have a change.
That is no, but it is not the leaders' utterances. I haven't heard President Mahama or Nana Akufo-Addo, even in Kukyo, when he went to campaign, he told the people to exercise patience.
Exactly.
So it is not the leaders of political parties who are inciting their leaders, their followers, to go into the streets and cause rampage.
No, but and also, my brother, we have to remember that we are democratizing. We are now the election campaign for 2020 has started from now. So we are democratizing. We are looking forward towards the 2020 elections now. So how can the institution of this nation and also civic education be so much inculcated in every Ghanaian to ensure that all of us are educated? Election is very important. After elections, what is the way forward from there? So we cannot do away with inculcating civic
awareness.
Yes,
in the people.
In the people.
Let me go to Honorable Professor Check. But now, your Your other colleagues are suggesting that it is simply the police service, the breakdown of the police service. They are, if you want me to put it, inefficiency that perhaps is resulting in this. They simply should go in and pick up people.
Thank you very much. It is true that anytime there is change in government, we've witnessed some form of violence in this country.
After they change?
Yes, after the change. So I'm not here to say that there was maybe one particular change in government where there was...
Yes, when the NDC took over,
it's gone
we saw process of
the electoral
Nanado destroyed
in the country. Even where there is no even change in government, sometimes people have taken the trouble to intimidate opponents. So it's not only about when government changes, but then it is very severe when there is a change in government, and that is what we've witnessed today. But for me, I believe that we have a society that is becoming very, very indisciplined. That is our problem as a country. We have a society that is becoming very, very indisciplined. When people do the wrong things, you see people who are in authority, people who are in very, very responsible positions supporting some of those actions. And the moment we continue doing that, we embolden people to do the wrong things. Yeah. Just imagine you are in a trotro moving from one place to the other. And then somebody, let's say, throws, let's say, litter outside, just litters the streets. And then you happen to say, oh, gentlemen, why did you do that? The first thing he will tell you is that your hope? You see? Yes. And the moment you respond, you realize that those around you who are supposed to support your point of view will rather start hitting at you. So therefore, you keep quiet. And then the indiscipline continues. So we see people doing the wrong things, and nobody is prepared to ensure that that person is cautioned. And that is what we are translating into our politics. We believe that once our government is in office, we have the right to do anything that we want to do, and nobody can even touch us. Look at what happened at the motorway. This toll collection, these are toll collections that have been contracted to people. They have legal documents binding what they are doing.
They do tenders.
Yes. Yeah. You see? So this is not a party, let's say, property, whereby you say, because my party is in office, I have to take charge of those properties. These are things that
their operations are official.
Exactly. Yeah. You see? And we need to educate our party supporters that governance is not done haphazardly, whereby it's like once you are in office, you can take in charge of anything that you want to take in charge of. No. There are rules. There are guidelines. And until the government that is in power exercise those rights, constituency executives, party supporters have no business. You see, these are the things that we need to do. As of now, what has taken place? We've destroyed state property. At the end of the day, these are our taxes that we have paid as a country to enable us enjoy those facilities. We've destroyed them. Government will have to look for money and then go back and rehabilitate those things that we've destroyed. Is it the NDC that is affected? All of us. Okay? All of us. If you destroy an opponent's billboard, you said something, but you later corrected yourself, and I was very happy. Destroying your opponent's billboard is a crime.
Yes, it is. I mean, yeah,
it's a crime.
Dementia.
No, he said the poster is of no use. But I reminded him that the signal that it's sent.
It's a crime. Yeah. Because the person has spent resources in putting up those structures. Normally, after elections, the metropolitan assemblies sometimes will issue a communique that all billboards has to be removed. They will give the political parties the opportunities to remove those things. But those things can be reused. I can tell you for a fact that the president-elect has billboards of 2012. They've been there up to the current elections.
Areas in Ghana here,
Exactly.
Exactly. Billboard. And
So you don't have the authority as a party supporter to go and destroy your opponent's billboard. It is totally wrong. And as a country, we have moved. In fact, we've progressed as a country. And these are some of the things we need to put a stop to. It doesn't help further our democracy. And for us as politicians, it is incumbent upon us to condemn certain things when they occur. With let me give you a very typical example, something that I faced in 2009, after I've won my first elections. The youth in one of the communities went and then seized toilets. My area, we have a lot of those issues. Yes. Were seized. And they came to me for me to endorse the actions that they've done.
The seizure of the toilets.
I'm not part of what they've done. And if the security arrests them, I will not. And I stood my grounds. And throughout my tenure as a member of parliament, they never saw eye to eye with me. But I was very happy because my role as a member of parliament is to change society, help society to reform, be a role model to the society. That is what we politicians are supposed to do. So when our party supporters are misbehaving, we should have the courage to tell them that, look, this is not right. I'm not part of what you are doing. And then you even ensure that those people are arrested. When you do that, the next time, nobody will do it. You see? But here we are. The indiscipline has engulfed all of us. Okay? Those of us who are supposed to be the role models are even the ones even urging this youth to continue with what they are doing. Because that is what we've told them, that when we come into office, those things will be given to them. But then we all know that some of these things have been contracted. And until the contracts run their full term, there's no way you can even call for a tender.
A former MP in my area, with a lot of donor support, built over 15 or so public places of convenience. And when things changed in 2008, those who were working on them were physically assaulted in my constituency. They came to me.
They asked to rent their account.
And some went to hospital with huge bills. These are not even toilets per se that were built with the Metropolitan Authority's money. Till date, all the people who are manning those toilets have rendered no account for 8 years. I know some of the people who were manning the toilets before, right, that have told them, I told my constituents I didn't come to do public toilets in their KMA business. This whole issue of bringing public toilets to the level of national thing, to me, is absurd. But just imagine, what my brother said, if I had not shown that leadership, I'm sure not a single person will be sitting on the toilet in my constituency. Right? But they know that if they go and misbehave,
you won't back them.
I won't back them. So we must be very, very, very careful of using state institutions to misbehave. You get my point?
Right.
Because some of these toilets that were taken over, they don't even render accounts to the AMA. And they've been run down. I have one that was built near the Menchia Palace for the use of people who are coming to Menchia. That was run down because an assembly member or a supporter was given it, couldn't run it. And then the people in that neighborhood decided to go and rehabilitate the toilet. Only for KMA to come and say that we have given it to somebody like his contract and say, you didn't build those toilets in the first place. Now you sat in your office and contracted it out to somebody. That person too happens to belong to a party they don't like. And it became an issue before the elections. I had to go in and try and solve these issues. But to me, we need, like my brother said, we need a better form of discipline, which includes punishment.
To deal with it.
Let me end on the issue of the security services. Look, we don't need to prompt the security services about post-election violence. These things have occurred over the period. Yes, they may not be able to go into our various homes to know exactly what is happening. But then their presence alone, as we've seen them all the time, if they had done that after the elections, after the declaration of the results, would have helped to a larger extent. But they didn't do that.
Right.
Until the issues started coming out before they started deploying their, and I think they need to look at that critically so that it doesn't happen anytime there's a change in government. You see, another disappointment that I'm not happy about is the fact that, you know, the toll booth at Tema, that's the motorway.
The motorway.
The police rushed to the scene.
But they're always there.
Yeah, they're still there.
You see? And those guys who came to seize the state property, that is money and so on and so forth, they met them right there.
But no arrest was done.
You see? With the money taken and put into a Benz car, saloon car. And I listened to the police officer. I was like, what? Look, the first thing you ask, the person doesn't have the right to even come to that toll booth to, first of all, even pick money and say because there's a change of government, somebody is going to steal the money. It doesn't make sense. The first thing you needed to do was to arrest all those guys who came there. It's common sense. You need to arrest all of them because they don't have any business. They've intruded somebody's privacy. So that alone should demand an arrest. But they treated them like they've committed no crime. And I was, what? If our security services continue to do that, that is why we embolden some of these youth to do the things that they do. No matter where the issues are coming from, deal with the person. In my community, those guys, if you rape, if you go to rape, your parent dare not come to my house and say that, Honorable, go and plead. The first thing I ask you is, if your daughter is the one that have been raped, will you do the same? You see, so we as leaders should be role models so that can help reform and change the society. But we are the same people, and sometimes playing the blame game. Well, and therefore, when they look at us, they see that, oh, when this one comes, you also help me.
I'm sure if the police service was here, they would have told you what they go through, because the argument is that they pick these persons up, and your party executives in the various constituencies go there to
deal with them. Listen,
on behalf of these
if
persons.
I'm a security officer and somebody has fallen foul of the law, and the law has to be applied, I will apply that law.
Okay.
If, as a result of that, I have to lose my position, I'll let the whole world know that this is what I did, and this is the punishment I had.
It's more complicated than what you're saying.
I don't want to speak for the police service.
You brought in the police service. Yeah. Are you saying, I'm asking, are you saying throughout this electioneering period, before the ballot, you didn't hear people being maimed and shot?
No, I did.
That should be dealt with.
And you think, if you take the whole Ghana police service, if in those communities they want to be a retaliation, do you think the police can stop it?
No, they can't.
You see, that's the whole point. When the first shot was fired, when the first person's hands were cut, if the police had moved in to make an arrest, the people in the society, you see, these things, it permeates society because the people in that society know those who have committed these acts.
Exactly.
Yeah. If they come out and they are boastful, they can't do impunity, do you think it will stop? That's why I'm saying that. Now, we are sitting on a powder cake. If we go into those communities that people, like somebody has been killed now that you should, do you think the family of those people would ever forgive? No. That is why in some communities in the Middle East, the whole ethos is that if somebody kills your family member, it behoves upon you to revenge. So 40 years, there's still fight going on. Exactly. So the police service should know that when they refuse to act, it can lead to a system where the anarchy, they can never
But Honorable, you know, it is not only the police. you and I are also involved.
Because see,
when they arrest,
speak to the police,
and we don't
exactly.
We don't influence.
Yeah.
Those things will not.
The police have always said that they pick people and party executives go to the stations and plead on their behalf. But they should do their work. Well, they should do their work. That's the police. All right. Let's pick this one from the Daily Graphic. You have nothing to fear. Akufo-Addo assures political opponent. Dr. Usman, let me start with you. This is straightforward. He's suggesting that his opponent shouldn't be afraid of anything.
Sure. Nana-Addo has already, or the president elect has already indicated that when he's coming to office come January the 7th, his prior occupation is to help to improve the quality of life of Ghanaians. And therefore, he's going to concentrate most of his efforts and his energies in how best he can improve the economy and also how best the quality of life for people of Ghana to improve. And he has said that he even need more resources from every Ghanaian or most Ghanaians who share his vision to be able to prosecute his agenda at the end of the day. So he's saying that he have nothing to fear, also to assure them that this is the country we have. All of us must make our contribution to ensure that we are able to deliver, to improve upon the well-being of the Ghanaian at the end of the day. You remember that run up to the elections, people were talking about the fact that when he gets opportunity, he will take the capital to his hometown and so many other things. But I think it's reassuring to hear that you bring everybody on board, and it's important that everybody make a contribution. He was talking to the security services, and I think that it's very, very important that all of them are reassured that you keep working, because as a person or as a president, he cannot work alone. He needs people to work with. So to tell that we have nothing to fear, I think it's reassuring, and all of us must work together to ensure that.
Let us look at that before I go to your other panelists. Let's just look at this in the context of what we normally would see when there is a change from one political party to another, where the other members, the members of the outgoing government are sometimes hauled before court. Perhaps that is a fear he seemed to tell people not to. But he's talking about not fearing it. But what about if some members of the outgoing government have engaged in some wrongdoing? Now, is he saying that don't be afraid of me, meaning that, well, you've done wrong, but you go free? Is that what?
No, I'm not sure that he's saying that you've done wrong, you should go free. For instance, people who have gone to cut others' hand or punish people because they belong to one particular party, I think the law have to take its course from there. But don't be afraid here means that do your work as it is. But if you have done something wrong, you have stolen some state resources, not only from outgoing government, public officers. If you are public officer and you've stolen state money, you should be dealt with. Not because you are a political party or official or no. The law have to work. But his attention, his concentration is not going to be on witch hunting and all that. He's going to concentrate on the business of the day. The business of the day is to improve upon the development that we have in this country. And I think that is going to be his concentration. But the law will have to work as it is.
Okay. Yeah. Honorable Theophilus Tetechai, so the assurance for members of your government who will be, and Dr. Usmeza adds, public officials. Now, the fear here is that anything that is done to any member of your party will be perceived as being witch hunting.
Right, thank you. I was laughing because, as part of the political campaigns, the NPP had a song. They are coming like Kakai. The Shatawale song. Yeah, and that was what they were using on the platform. So I'm not surprised that he said that nobody has anything to fear. I'm just creating a fun out of it. But we are not in the dictatorial regime.
Exactly.
We are in a multi-party democracy. Gone were those days when people use their own power to take over power from the people. And when it happens that way, in order to secure the power that they've taken, they do all sorts of things just to ensure that they are secured. We are in a multi-party democracy. We've gone through an election the citizenry have decided who should lead in the next 4 years. So therefore, none of us should have any fears. Not at all. You see? But you see, when you have is it skeleton in your cupboard or what? What's it?
Right. Skeleton is in your drawer.
Okay.
That is where
Go honorable, as you said, you have nothing to be afraid of.
exactly. So that is where maybe the fear comes in. But you see, as public servants, we have to ensure that the right things are done. Because look, it is our resources that has been entrusted for us to work with. Is that okay? So when we do right with the resources, we go through the procedure as enshrined in the laws. What do you have to fear? You are working for the people. That is it. So whether there is a change in government or there is no change in government, you are still working in an environment that is secured, provided you are abiding by the rules and regulations enshrined in the various laws that govern what we do. So for me, I don't see anything wrong with what the president-elect is saying. Yes, we need not to fear. But then, if something wrong has been done, it doesn't mean that because I said you don't have to fear, then it means that those things should be covered. No. Because if we do that, then we are also not upholding the accountability, the rule of law that we all envisage in our multi-party democracy.
And let me quickly add that as a president, you also have the responsibility to manage our resources that we have entrusted in you. So efficiently, exactly the word. So if people are abusing it and you look on, it means that you are also abusing the trust that we have given to you at the end of the day. So he has a responsibility to ensure that people do the right thing. And I'm very happy that to hear that the Office of the Public Prosecutor will be coming up. It's very, very important. Not only for now, but also into the future. People should not misuse our taxes with impunity, because the taxes of the KIA, the tax of the taxi drivers, the truck drivers, the tailors, hairdressers, teachers, all the sweat of all of us should be used efficiently as much as possible. So Office of Public Prosecutor is very, very important, and it should cut across whoever, that's to say the public servant. All of us are public servants. Some form of resources are given to us to manage, and we must manage the resources very well. So if you look on, then he also not be doing the right thing that we have entrusted on him.
I'm grateful. Dr. Bokuman, wrap up for me.
You see, those who started shouting, if they come, they are going to prosecute us. Like my brother said, you might have skeletons in their cupboard. Yes. So they were campaigning for their party, not for good governance purposes, but to protect their probably bad deeds. Yeah. Right? So the government would have been negligent. The incoming Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo's government would be negligent if it doesn't make sure that the Auditor General's reports, that is full of misbehaviors by public officials, are not dealt with. That's where I would like to start. I have in front of me a document, my brother. In 21st century Ghana, how can the Ministry of Roads and Highways...
Public accounts
no, that's not a public account. I'll tell you. Ghana Highway Authority, Department of Urban Roads. How can you go and seek sole sourcing for asphaltic overlay in the municipality? My brother, tell me the reason that now, with all the Ghanaian contractors around, that the Ministry of Transport or Roads will go to Public Procurement Authority and get sole sourcing for asphaltic overlay. And not even one. Look, I have 1,000 pages of documents. And some, you understand why protecting the public purse is in all of our interest.
So if the reasons the PPA gives
I'll tell you,
are not what you think is right, then
let me tell you,
acted on.
The PPA itself, this is the PPA document,
okay,
says that the board noted with concern the increasing number of the use of, this is 22nd, at their meeting, 22nd June. Increasing number of use of single source method for items such as LED lights.
You see, let me quickly say that.
No,
in the public
I'm coming.
And they approved it. And they approved it.
Let me tell you. I'm not saying that going to seek it's wrong, but even giving permission
to do
for wrongdoing, you yourself should be punished. My brother, we are in a dangerous time too. My brother is the chairman of the Road and Transport Committee of Parliament, and I'm telling you, it is not the ministers that I'm angry with, but I'm angry with our so-called technocrats. Look, if I start mentioning some of these sole sourcing, you would vomit. LED lights, sole sourcing. It will come to your turn. I know you are.
Yeah.
We are getting ready to wrap up.
It is not the sole sourcing I'm against, but the sort of harm we are doing to ourselves as a country. Our road construction is probably the highest in sub-Saharan Africa now. Aren't we worried? If we are supposed to do something for $300,000 and we are doing it in Ghana for $1 million, it means that we could have got 3 times length of road if we had investigated. Ghana is not an oasis in road construction in the world. So I'm saying that when we say prudent use of our resources, because you have oil money doesn't mean that if you are going to buy a TV set for $280, you come and sell it to Ghanaians for $2,800. Prudent use of our resources doesn't mean you can't come to Parliament and tell us you have used $145 billion of our hard-earned oil money for capacity building and we don't know which capacity that was built. So it is incumbent, if you read the Constitution of Ghana, that the efficient use of public resources is one of the functions of the president. So we should protect. My brother, we should, look, just 3 days ago in electioneering, I went into a house to do campaign, and a lady sitting there was insulting me that she didn't get a T-shirt. On further investigation, she didn't even have any work to do. So the mom or the auntie says, "Who did the MP attempt? Oh, yeah, I was a couple of children, so when you do I bet they wanted to come and see me. I asked them, what do I want to do? Said he wants to learn seamstress. Said, oh, then I can give you a sewing machine. 3 days later, there was a pastor in my house coming to thank me for the sewing machine. The things that our people need to break them out of poverty cycle are few hundreds of cedis, not even thousands. Ask him. And when you see that one person, because of greed, has contrived with public servants to rape the country dry, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo cannot then say, they themselves have started shouting they are afraid. They themselves. My brother will go and sleep.
But this public accounts committee
and President Akufo, when the first democratically elected government came, why? There were over 100 NDC ministers. Were they all sent to jail? I'm asking. Under President Mills, there were over 100 NPP ministers. Coming in, even after 8 years, have been able to send to jail. But if you do something wrong, that doesn't mean there are even NPP former ministers who are in court as we speak.
Yeah.
Why? That is the right thing to do. Because, look, if government goes to borrow money for the development, me and you will pay.
And our children.
And our children and our grandchildren will pay. So if you go and sit in the ministry and you connive, and you go and outwit a minister, oh, there are these direct government bungalows, let's go and sell. And you sell 82 government bungalows. When NDC came, it was an issue, selling government property. And now you've sold 82. Or aviation lands in Medina. Oh, sorry, my brother is still the chairman. Over 2,000 acres that they came to Parliament.
Okay.
Let me finish this. They came to Parliament to say that because of the modern gadgets that we need, we don't need that huge land. We need only 250 acres out of that huge aviation land. We didn't put that to public use. We gave it to our friends. But now, what aviation people went on the demonstration, that even the 250 acres reserved for them has been sold. Don't you think an Akufo-Addo government should come and kick those out and protect government interest or state interest? You see, the impunity and abuse that comes with aging governments doesn't know a government. It knows all, it happens in all governments. That is why the institution, the state renews itself by giving mandates to different governments, so that the renewal would contribute to the progress. That is why it is on record that since 1992 to now, Ghana has developed more than any other 20 years since we started our independence. Why? Because governments change. Yeah. And when they get aging and the abuse starts and the impunity and arrogance setting, Ghanaians kick them out. You cannot refuse. Nanado's government would not shirk its responsibility to make sure that the government purse has been protected well. I'm
grateful for your time this morning. That was Matthew Poku Prempeh, is Member of Parliament for the Mencia South constituency. Dr. Isaac Owusu-Mensah is a lecturer, Department of Political Science, University of Ghana, and Theophilus Theta-Chai is the Member of Parliament are going for the Ablekuma Central. They are going next 2 weeks or so for the Ablekuma Central constituency. We are grateful for your time this morning. Thank you very much for joining us.